Hideo Kojima is one of the most talented video game developers out there. He's mainly known for creating the beloved Metal Gear series, which if you haven't played it, you probably should, but I'm gonna warn you, might get a little bit wacky. Kojima has always been able to mix good gameplay with complex storytelling. Well, not always. On a serious note, one of his projects that I find most fascinating is PT. For those of you who don't know, PT is short for Playable Teaser. PT came out on August 12th, 2014, and no one really knew what it was until they got to the end of the game, at which it was revealed as Silent Hills, a reboot of the original Silent Hill games. Now, I've never actually played PT for two main reasons. One, I didn't get a PS4 till a couple months after it was taken off the PlayStation Store. And two, I didn't really have a good enough PC to run the Unreal Engine 4 remake when it was available. And there might be another one available, but I'm bad at looking for it. Now, I know PT is a game, which means it's hard for me to form my own opinion on it, having not have played it at all. But I think you should give me the benefit of the doubt and hear me out, because I think if I had played PT personally, I'd still think it was an awesome game. PT's graphics, storytelling, and puzzles tell me that I'd be soiling my pants throughout the whole experience. I get scared watching gameplay of the game, and that really only happens to me when there are cheap jump scares in horror games that I watch on YouTube. The concept of the game is terrifying alone. Basically, you walk through the same hallway throughout the entire game, but certain things change in the hallway, which can be, just little things, or it could just be like, oh no, everything's red. Through these changes, you notice small and sometimes shocking details about the story through various ways of discovering said details. But I'm not done talking about the hallway. So just imagine you're walking through your house, you got home, you got groceries in a bag, and then you walk into what you think is your bedroom, but no, you're back at the start of the hallway. Except, as you walk by the bathroom door, you hear a baby crying. So to make sure you're not crazy, you go back to what you think is your bedroom, but no, you're back in the hallway, but a random lady is standing in the middle of the hallway making a bunch of freaking noises. Let's get back on track, shall we? The game gets weirder and weirder and weirder as the game progresses, while also trying to make sense as to why everything you're seeing is happening. Maybe to calm you down a little bit, even though you're gonna leave needing a new pair of pants anyway because of all the other stuff you had to endure. And the game keeps scaring you. Not with cheap jump scares, but like I said earlier, within the first 3 cycles of those hallway, you are going to just freak out and want to leave the room and never come back. Now, you won't get jump scared unless you screw up real bad. The scariest part for me is when you're walking by the radio and the reporter, who's usually just saying the regular stuff he says this. Now that is one of the many examples of how PT takes advantage of its short length to scare people throughout almost the entire game. Now, the main reason I'm glorifying PT is because PT was a revolutionary horror game for other horror games at the time, and it was only a demo. So think about how awesome it would be to have a full-length game based around that same level of intensity, gameplay, graphics, sound design. I'm sorry, what'd you say? Yeah, that's right. It'd be pretty freaking awesome. Another thing I want to say is that if you go back and look at gameplay of the game, you'll see that the graphics are almost photorealistic. Like, it's crazy how close they got, and I think that is another big reason that the game is so much scarier than other games at the time. When you walk down a hallway in PT for the first time, you're just under the impression that it's a regular hallway because of how real it looks, and there's nothing special about it. But on the second time through, like I said, you hear a baby crying in the bathroom, and you're like, uh-oh, gotta leave, nuh-uh, no thanks. The sounds Kojima used to create a really scary and ambient atmosphere are, like I said earlier, the scariest parts of the game. This is excluding the reporter talking or the baby crying. Heck, you walk through the hallway and you see the chandelier swinging, the sound it makes is enough for you to go, I know this is bad, but I'm gonna keep going because I'm a big boy and I don't need a new pair of pants. And by the time you walk under it, you need a new pair of pants. I really need to stop using that analogy, but I'm gonna keep going. Another thing that makes me appreciate the effort Kojima put into it is that the story is told entirely through the gameplay and the puzzles you do. It's not told through cutscenes or backstory needed from another game, or you don't need to go play the old Silent Hills games to figure out everything. But he took the environment of the hallway, used the sound, the pictures, and the changes each time you move to let you know a little bit more about the story. And that is what makes PT an awesome game. And PT left behind a big legacy for the horror genre, despite being taken off of almost everywhere. And there's barely any way to play it now without having to buy $500 PS4 on eBay. PT, or rather, I would like to call it Silent Hills, but we all know that that will probably never happen, gave inspiration to make some of today's greatest horror games, like Resident Evil 7. I played that. It's really scary, and if you go back and watch some PT stuff, it's clear of some of the stuff that it's taken from that. Visage is another one. I've had people tell me that Visage is a super scary game, and I believe them, because I'll go watch gameplay of Visage, and I'll be like, get the same feeling that I do when I watch PT. Layers of Fear is also another first-person horror game that took some things from PT. You get the point. PT changed how we look at first-person horror games, because I think Nakey Jakey, God knows he's way more popular than I am, said this in a really good way. He said, and I quote, PT is a horror game. That is true of any part of the word, because, like I said, me even being able to watch PT, I'm acknowledging that if I were playing there, I wouldn't even get past the first cycle, because of how terrifying of an experience that I know it is. And I want to take these last couple minutes to bring in the fact of how, kind of get sad for a little bit, emotional, but like, think about how good a full game of that would have been. It would have been amazing. There's no doubt about it. Heck, even if they screwed up the story, it would have been the scariest game that anyone had ever played in a long time. I'm talking scarier than Outlast, scarier than Alien Isolation, scarier than what Resident Evil 7 would have become, and who knows? Maybe if PT did become Silent Hills, we wouldn't have gotten some of today's best horror games. So maybe a little good did come out of PT's cancellation. But just because something good came out of it doesn't mean a lot of us wouldn't have preferred to have Silent Hills. And that really is a tragedy. For those of you who don't know, the whole reason that PT was canceled in the first place was because during the production of Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain, a very popular game, which is also very weird, Konami and Kojima had some issues, and Kojima left the company, and Silent Hills was canceled. This made people furious, and it's sad because even people who did try and remake it, like the guy who made Unreal PT, and there's still some out there, I'm just too lazy to look, if I'm being honest, Konami would always try and take them down, because they're, I don't want to say this, but selfish for trying to keep something that was art, and sure, they own the license, but it would not have become as popular as it was if it wasn't for Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro. Two very talented people, but Hideo Kojima made what was a masterpiece and is considered one of the greatest horror games today, but it's only a demo. So, just, I know I keep saying this, but just think about, you're playing a game, and what if the concept was every time you solved a certain mystery within the repeating hallway, your hallway would change to a completely different one, and then it would change minorly until you figured out the secret of that hallway. And by the end of the game, You've been scared to death, and it would have ended perfectly. And there's not a lot that Kojima did with the stuff for PT. Like, he made Death Stranding, which is decent, but we all know how that turned out. But PT is a rare experience. And I'm going to say this again. Nakey Jakey said it perfectly. You can't make PT a horror movie. And you can't make it horror book or any other form of medium. It has to be a horror game. And that's why I'm making this video. Because I didn't get the pleasure of being able to play through it, and looking back at old gameplay of it, I'm sure even though I would have been scared the whole time, I would have enjoyed the game at the end of the day. And that is why I think PT could have been the best horror game of all time. Actually, that's a stretch, but you get what I mean. Alright, thanks for watching. If you want to see more of these, subscribe, because I will be making more. I have plenty of more ideas for stuff like this. If you have any suggestions for what you want me to make, put it in the comments. I know this video wasn't of the best quality, especially on the audio part, but I'm working on it. This is my first video essay thing, even though it's kind of not really a video essay. But cut me some slack. If you want to see me play games, because I play a lot of games, I'll be streaming on Twitch, or at least I'm starting to, or supposed to be by the time this video's out. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed, and if you like Hideo Kojima, or PT in general, give this video a like. See you later. Also, I was really sick during this video, which is why my voice sounds like AIDS.